Have you ever sat back, watched the charts, and thought, wait, did I just miss the top of the bull run? Because right now, one of the biggest questions in crypto is this: is the bull market for Bitcoin over? And are we heading into a bear market? You might have seen the headlines. You might have heard the rumblings on social media. But what's real and what's hype? Today, we're breaking it down. We'll walk through the signals, the data, the expert views, and by the end, you'll know where we might be headed. Let's dive in. First things first, for anyone who's new to crypto or markets in general, let's clear up what we're talking about. A bull market means prices are rising or trending up for a sustained period. Investors are confident, money is flowing in, and the general vibe is positive. A bear market, on the other hand, means prices are dropping, sentiment is negative, and many investors are cutting losses or staying on the sidelines. In traditional markets, a correction might be a temporary drop of 10 to 20%. But in crypto, the swings can be much bigger and faster. So when you hear someone say the bull run is over, they're basically saying this might be the moment when optimism fades and we enter a long period of lower prices or sideways trading. And yes, many are asking if we're already there for Bitcoin. So let's look at where Bitcoin stands right now. We've got a couple of flashing yellow lights on the dashboard. First, the price recently slipped under a really key level, the 365-day moving average. Now, why does that matter? Well, for many analysts, that line is a major trend definer, so dipping below it is generally seen as a warning sign. Second, the data on the blockchain is showing some real caution signals. Case in point, the bull score index for Bitcoin just hit 0. That's the first time it's done that since the last major bear market, which is something you definitely can't ignore. And finally, we're seeing seller pressure clearly on the rise. We've got big holders, sometimes called whales, moving their coins around, and the futures funding rates have dropped. That usually tells us there's less bullish leverage, meaning fewer people are aggressively betting on the price going up. So, yes, the caution lights are absolutely flashing. But before you panic, it's not quite as simple as saying the bull market is dead. Because even with all those warnings, we still have some genuinely supportive signs out there. To get a clearer picture of what's really going on, expert opinions can always help cut through the noise. And while some are still waving the bull flag high, there are also respected voices in the space who believe the bull run is already over. Here's what the next experts have to say. First up, we've got the bears warning that the party's winding down and we might be staring down a bear market sooner than we think. Peter Schiff, the gold bug who's always been skeptical of crypto, recently tweeted that hodlers pledging Bitcoin as collateral will lead to massive liquidations and exacerbate the coming crash, predicting Bitcoin will soon surrender all of its 2025 gains. There's also Mike McGlone from Bloomberg Intelligence. In his November 7th analysis, he warned that if $100,000 support breaks, Bitcoin could revert to its 48-month moving average around $56,000, calling it a do-or-die moment amid fading ETF hype and inflation pressures. On the flip side, we've got the bulls, those folks who are still riding the wave and betting on more gains. Starting with PlanB, the guy behind the stock-to-flow model. He recently tweeted that the bull run's momentum is still going strong, thanks to the halving supply shock and ETF inflows, with the current dip just part of the ongoing cycle. There's also Mike Novogratz from Galaxy Digital. In his recent CNBC interview, he said Bitcoin could hit $120,000 to $125,000 by year-end despite volatility, driven by institutional inflows and Fed rate cuts. But warned it would take crazy stuff for higher targets like $250,000. These guys are all pointing to the same thing. The halving cycle isn't done, and with lower rates from the Fed, the bull momentum persists. Now let's zoom in on where the rubber truly meets the road. These are the key support and resistance levels you absolutely must watch. These are the actual price points that matter. First, let's talk about the giant on the chart, $100,000. This is constantly cited as a massive psychological and technical threshold. The story here is pretty simple. Some analysts say if Bitcoin can just hold this level, the bull run is absolutely still alive and kicking. Now remember that 365-day moving average we just discussed? It was recently sitting right around $102,000, and we broke it. That means that for a lot of people, a close back above that level is seen as a must-see major reversal signal. That's the line we need to reclaim. On the flip side, if Bitcoin drops below $95,000, or if it starts heading down toward that $70,000 or $80,000 range, that would signal a much stronger bear market. Now let's talk real talk. Based on everything we just covered, what should you do? This is where you need to consider two main scenarios. If this really is the end of the bull run, you might want to think about trimming risk. That could mean reducing your exposure or taking some profits off the table and locking them in. You might want to shift into pure watch mode, that is, hold mostly cash or stable assets, and wait for the next truly clear trend to emerge. Or maybe you look to hedge with other assets, like stablecoins or something outside of crypto, perhaps even gold. If the bull run isn't over yet, you could choose to remain invested, but you must stay disciplined. That means expecting major volatility and making sure you have stop losses set, or at least very realistic expectations for the short term. And most importantly, try to focus on the long term. Avoid the trap of trying to chase those really fast, quick gains. That's where people get burned. The bottom line: whatever you ultimately decide to do, always remember this. Crypto is highly volatile. It's not just about trying to predict the next big move in the market. It's about managing yourself while the market does its thing. And now I'd love to hear from you. Do you think Bitcoin's bull run is over? Or do you believe it still has room to run? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.